Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. My name is Teresa and I'll be your tour guide today. Okay, so today we are going to do a full face of Revlon and talk about what's good and what's not. So let's get about it because I've got a lot of thoughts on it. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell to be alerted when a new video drops, and at the end of this video, if you like it, give it a big thumbs up. So bear with me while I have my glasses on, as you should start to know by now, I'm a little bit blind. So I've got a heap of products in front of me and I'm going to start with, I've got Revlon Skinlights in the shade Sunrise Luster. We've got a couple of foundations and I'll talk to you about these right now. Okay. Revlon Skinlights and the whole Colour Stay range in it. Not as good as what they used to be. We used to think they were fantastic when they came out, because they were, because there wasn't a huge amount in chemist brands. This falls off my face, and most makeup stays on my face all day. This, for mature skin that's a little bit dry, amazing. If you are oily though, it might be a bit of a problem. I've got a heap of eyeshadows here. I've got blush. I've got the whole lot, so let's get about it. Okay, as I said, going in with these Skinlights. This is, I love illuminating primers, as you know. This is really glowy. This is metallic almost. I would not wear this on its own. You can wear it as a highlighter, but if you wear it on its own, you're going to look like an Academy Award, quite frankly. Just using my fingers to work that in. But you can see, I mean, it looks lovely, but I feel like it's quite changed the colour of my skin, and I think in full daylight might be a bit much. Okay, going in with the Illuminance foundation, I am the shade 217. This has squalane and hyaluronic acid in it. So as I said, it's super hydrating and juicy if you are particularly on the drier side. I don't have, shockingly, one of my mixing trays. So just on the back of my hand, as you can see, it's not a super runny viscosity, but it has got a bit of run to it. So you can use this either with a brush or a makeup sponge. Going in with a brush on this side. And you can see it's a nice light to medium coverage. It's not too heavy. And it allows your skin to show through. I've just done half of the face first. You can see the difference. It really evens out your skin tone. Okay, into the other side now. Probably should have used a sponge to show the difference. Okay, so I've done both sides of the face now, and you can see it's a really nice glowy finish to it. Going in with, this is relatively new, it's the Flexwear Full Cover Concealer. I've got the shade Fair Light. This is quite thick, typical doe foot applicator. And look, for Fair Light, this pulls quite orange, I would say. And as I said, it's quite thick. I don't know if that's showing up true to colour on here, but I would probably, for me, I'm normally Fair Light in everything, and I think I'd even go, if there's Fair or Porcelain for brightening under eyes, it might work as a colour corrector in that, as I said, it's quite orange on my face. Okay, using a cat's paw, there's a bit of shedding a bit. Using a cat's paw concealer brush now, just stamping that in, blending it out under the eyes. And yes, as I thought, it's probably better used as a slight colour corrector. It's pretty full coverage, and it feels, to be quite honest, while it's creamy, I feel like it's making under my eyes look a bit dry and cakey, and I'll zoom in to see, but it's definitely got some coverage to it. Just going back over. If you're worried how your concealer is blending in, just go back over with whatever beauty tool you use, whether that's your brush or a sponge, and that will help with the blend. I'm interested to see how powder sits over that. So for powder, we have the Revlon Age Defying Touch and Glow Powder. I have got the shade Translucent. I've used this once. I've dropped the puff. It's got a puff. And I don't like it. It's a terrible puff, to be quite honest. So just using a brush, tapping off and going in to set. I use more in my T-zone and then a bit lighter over the rest of my face. I do set all of my face though for longevity. It won't make you look cakey. It will make your makeup last. And just down the neck. That's quite finely milled. It's quite nice. I do prefer from the chemist, if you are after a translucent powder though, straight away, the Maybelline Fit Me is one of my all-time favourites, not just in chemist brands but all over against luxury as well. So before we go any further, I do essentially 2 layers of setting spray. I always go in just to help make this melt into the skin and to take any, if I feel tightness or dryness or anything like that. So going in with the Colour Stay Lock 24-hour setting mist. It's quite a fine mist, but it's quite an aggressive mist. There's a fair bit that comes out with that. Didn't use too much at that point, just want to take away a bit of the powderiness of it and melt that in. Don't hit yourself in the face with the fan like I just did. Okay, eyebrows I'm going to do right now. Now I have here the Revlon Colour Stay Brow Fibre Filler. Not sure how I feel about that. And a micro pencil. So I think I'll go in with the micro pencil first and then see if I need the fibro filler. I actually thought when I was getting that I was getting just a gel. As you can see from my eyebrows, they don't necessarily need too much help being thicker. I've got a good pair of Johnny Howards. So this is though, this is a really, I'll roll it right out. It's a really good pencil, like really nice micro. Chemist brands are coming a long way with some of their base products. Brow pencils, you can get amazing brow pencils, all of them, all of the big brands, Revlon, CoverGirl, Maybelline, they all have micro pencils. So you can get great affordable pencils at a cheaper price point. However, the one difference is this is dark brown and it's a warm brown. I prefer neutral or cool tone browns, even though I'm quite warm tone. They tend to pull red. So pharmacy brands will tend to pull red in their brow products, whereas if you are going a more high-end brand, they will have cool tones, they will have neutral tones as well as warm tones. So normally if I'm getting a dark brown from somewhere like Sephora or Mecca, dark brown tends to be more cool tone and more neutral, whereas a warm brown obviously is a warm brown. I can really notice it on this side though. I don't know if you can see that it looks quite warm. I've obviously used more on that side, but again there is a difference in the price. So let's try this fibre. It's got teeny tiny little brow brush on one end, and then it's got a little, it's almost like a little comb that runs the same length as the brow brush. Be really careful here because I could probably look like Oscar the Grouch. Okay, let's try, I'm just trying to pick the edge of my brow hairs here. Look, this might work for someone that just needs to fill in some sparse brows. I don't think that's a product for me. Okay, going in now with Revlon Skinlights bronzer in the shade 02 Cannes Tan. Speaking of a bit of cool tone, this is quite nice. It's, well, it looks cooler there than it does there, but it's not orange, and that's the main thing, because I do not like an orange bronzer. Tapping off and just warming up the perimeters of my face. This, I've used this a few times over the last few weeks, trying it out. This is a pretty new to me product and I really like it. It's actually one of my favourite chemist powder bronzers. So this is one worth having, going and checking out. I'm not sure how many shades there are in the range, but you can see that's just warmed me up nicely, just using the excess just down the sides of the nose. And let's just go under the jawline there. So we're sort of cheating and using it as a bit of a contour as well. Really nice, really nice. That has been living on the top of my desk. I like it that much. Okay, blush. We've got the powder blush. I had a look. They've got a few different shades, and the one that I wanted was quite neutral. It was a nude in actual fact, but when I swatched it, it was lighter than my skin tone. So unless you are super pale, it wouldn't show up. You're better off just using bronzer. So I got this shade, which was probably the most intense shade they had. It's called Hot Cheeks. And I think when you look at it, like it shows a bit of, in the reflect, I don't know if you can see that, it shows a bit of pinky gold, which is reminiscent of NARS Orgasm. However, it shows up in the monitor there, it's showing up the same. It's much more intense on my arm than the NARS Orgasm. So I'm going to go in lightly, very lightly. In fact, I'm going to change my brush and get a super fluffy one so that it doesn't get too intense to start with. I mean, wish me luck. Going in with a gentle hand first. It's got a fair bit of pigment. And I picked this shade. They had a couple of other shades that were really nice. Even though this is intense, I picked this shade because I don't have something this colour in everything that I've got. It's got a slight glow to it. So yeah, it's got that bit of reflex. Maybe it's like the Orgasm Intense. Oh, now that I've turned away from the light, that looks a lot. But that's okay, even though it looks a lot at this point in time, once we spray down again at the end, that melts it in and it gets rid of some of that intensity. So you don't have to worry about that at this stage. So we just look like a lot right now. And of course, what else am I going to use for highlighter but the Skinlights? This is, I can't read the shade, but it's 201, which is the lighter of the two. This is the one that is considered the dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy palette. It's beautiful. You can see it's had a fair bit of love from me. And look at that. It's a golden champagne colour. Fantastic for all lighter skin tones. The darker shade is beautiful, obviously, for darker tones. I picked that up and tried a long time ago because I accidentally bought it. Way too dark for me. I can't get away with it. But if you are mid to dark tone, these are one of the all-time greats from the chemist. Eyeshadow. Let's talk eyeshadows. I have a lot to say before I put my base on. I have a few here, and I also have some that I've gotten rid of. I have these ones. Let me open them. And there's a little story behind this. So I have these two. I bought this because it looked like the Natasha Denona Xenon palette, and I'll do a comparison at some stage. I did film this a couple of weeks ago and had issues with my camera. I used this. Problem that I have with these are not bad shadows. The problem that I have with these is, and I'll use this as an example, this is a narrow brush, barely fits in there. My pinky finger barely fits in there. Get rid of these pans. They are absolute trash. Long skinny pans like this, you're not Urban Decay. Urban Decay are like this long. These, I don't know who you're making them for. Barbie would struggle to put her fingers in there and use. Other than that, they're not a bad eyeshadow. These ones, the Colour Stay, what are these called? Day to Night. The Colour Stay Day to Night. I've got 3 here. I did have 4. Threw the blue one out. Absolute trash. These are really hit and miss. I'm going to hold these 2 up in particular. This top one here has all shimmer or satins. This one here, thankfully, has mattes and a shimmer. You need at least 1 to 2 mattes in every palette. Ideally, we'll get, this is ideal, we've got 3 mattes and a shimmer. I think they're 3 mattes. This might be a slight satin, but give us at least 2 mattes. You can give us a satin, you can give us a shimmer. If you're not giving us mattes, you're wasting our time. And I also have these. If you have looked at these in the chemist and wondered about buying them because they're quite neutral, quite nice, put them down, back up, step away. They are satins. They are the worst eyeshadow I've tried from the chemist in a lot of years. Revlon, you are a big billion-dollar company with a lot of money behind you. Do better. Do better. You can spend another couple of dollars creating your formulas and fix them. I would pay $5 more to get a better product, and instead of buying them, step to the left, step to the right, go to CoverGirl and pick up these, because I think they're cheaper and they're a much better product. So CoverGirl is the brand that's doing it eyeshadow wise. These are beautiful, but we're not doing CoverGirl today. We're doing Revlon. In fact, I'm going to start with Stylish, starting with this lightest of the matte shades and using it as my transition shade. But first, nearly forgot, I need to prep my eyes. Okay, so I have primed my eyes as per usual with the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre, and have just done a light set on that. So now we can start. As I said, going in with the lighter shade, matte shade, in the Stylish palette. Looking straight ahead to create my transition. You know what? I think I'm just going to stay with the Stylish palette. So let's stick to one, even though this probably does not really match and would have been better off with a nude, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm not going super slow while I do this. If you want me to slow down how to build upon layer, I've got 2 other videos currently at the moment. Go see the first one, that is Eyeshadow 101 blending, and it will show you rather slowly, step by step, using one shade, how to blend your eyeshadow for a blown out look. And just practice. But again, don't forget, hold your brushes down the end of the barrel to give you better control of it. Little finger out, it's a cup of tea. It means that you're not going to grip too tight. It means that you can tickle around the edges and soften that look. Okay, using the same brush, going into this next mid shade now to deepen up the crease. As always, if you have hooded eyes in particular, look straight ahead when applying into your mirror so you can see the placement and that you're not doing all of this work for it to only disappear the minute you open your eyes. Little windshield wiper motions. Okay, using that same brush, make sure you've got a cloth of some sort, just a microfiber cloth. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Go in, clean it off, back into your first transition shade, tapping off, just slightly going over the join between those 2 shades, around the edges, just to buff it out a little bit. Okay, we like to keep it pretty easy here and keep it minimal with brushes. I've got literally, well, not literally 1,000 of them, but it seems like it sometimes. Just going in with a denser packing crease brush into the darker shade, tapping off. As long as you clean, and look, I could have used the brush that I just used, as long as you clean it off in between shades, you're good. But just stamping that in into the outer third, into a bit of a wedge shape, bit of a triangular wedge shape. This is probably the pick out of their quads. Not because it's neutral. They do have a cool toned one that I saw the other day that I believe might actually be all mattes from memory. This, you can go from day to night with this one. Back in with the fluffier brush. I haven't cleaned it off this time. Just going over to buff that out. But I think this you could utilise just the first 2 shades that we used. These 2 here for a really nice day look. Itchy nose. Really nice day look. And this can also build up. So just bringing windshield wiper motions just to help bring that darker shade in. Back to this brush, just lightly over the edge there. We're not going too dark today. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with where the eyes are there. And just on the lid there, just buffing that a little bit, just to soften up that line. Okay, using my finger, we've got this shimmer here. It's probably a bit more intense. It's really bronzy. Not sure that I want to go quite that intense, but here we are. Just pressing that gently over the lid now. The only thing that this is missing is something to use an inner corner highlight, but we have that with our highlighter, so we can actually utilise that. So just pat, pat, pat. If your fingers are too long, onto a flat brush, spray with setting spray so you can get the payoff and the intensity and it doesn't fall out everywhere, and press that down. Now getting a little pencil brush and grabbing our highlighter and just going in with that and using that as our inner corner highlight. You can see we're not being too precious about it, just using the pencil brush. Good thing with this, it's got a lot of flexibility to it, like they're not too hard. So if you tuck it in, drag it up, and it automatically follows the curve of your orbital bone to lift up and open out that part of your eye. Blending it over the edge there. And we'll do underneath our eyes in a second. Okay, so eyeliner. Fortunately, the only eyeliner that I have from Revlon is a charcoal, which is absolutely not going to go with this look. So, not that I recommend you doing this at home, but I'm going to use my lip liner as my eyeliner. It is Colorstay, I think, of course. Colorstay Longwear Lip Liner in the shade Nude. And I'm just going to use that in my waterline. This will dry down. And it's the right shade to use in this instance. As I said, don't recommend you doing it. But, you know, I'm me. A little bit of a rebel. Okay, under the eye now, going in with the darkest matte shade. Just with a flat brush and stamping that along. Going to zoom right in here in a second to show you something. When people complain, let's zoom right in, because when people complain about their eyeliner, I'm just trying to find a, here we go. Okay, let's zoom right in, because when people complain about creasing under their eye, if you look here, you can see that my concealer has creased under my eye, right? This is why we do this under our eye. So we've stamped in that liner, going into the original shade that we used as our transition, just on a slight fluffy brush. And we're going to use the lighter transition shade to blend out this darker shade. It will take it down essentially to the bottom of our lash line, and where that is, as you can see straight away, is where all that creasing was. It's buffed it out and it'll stay buffed out. This is why, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to stamp darker liner under your eye, like darker powder under your eye. You can use the lighter shade, you can use a nude shade, but I recommend you using, you can use a super nude shade that's really close to your skin colour. I recommend using a powder eyeshadow underneath, just dragging back and forth, and that will prevent creasing of your concealer and your base products under your eyes. So you can see that's made a huge difference. There's no creasing there now, there's just wrinkles. Back into the highlighter, just to bring that across and marry up on the bottom. It is really as simple as that under the eye. So now we're going to go in with our setting powder. I've got mascara and lips to do, and I always like to do, not setting powder, sorry, setting spray. I always like to do my setting spray before my mascara, before my lips. They are wet products. Let's work on our dry products first. So again, the Locket. This time, however, you saw that I gave a pretty standard mist setting spray before. We're going to lock this in for the entire day. We want this to stay all day. We want it not to budge. So pay attention. It doesn't matter if it's this, it doesn't matter any products that you are using on your face. This is what you need to do to help make it last all day, to help make everything melt into your face. Can you see how wet I am? Yep. Look at my nose, it's sticking to the fuzzy bits on my hair. I don't press this in with a blending sponge. I get a fan. It is up to you. I prefer this method. Piece of cardboard, a book, but fanning it to dry down. It's melting everything into my face and it's going to set it well. Okay, as you can see now, let's have a look at this. Remember how intense this was looking before? This is melted and it looks much more skin-like now. Everything's just absorbed into the skin. It diffuses it, it blends it, it gives your skin a really beautiful glow. I'm really, really happy with how my base is looking around here. I'm pretty happy with my eyeshadow. This is not my favourite eyeshadow formula. Again, I would pick probably nearly any brand other than Revlon for eyeshadow wise. But, you know, it's here. I'm really happy with this. Okay, let's clean off our lips. Just wiping some product off. I've got, bear with me, a heap of lip products here. Revlon do really, really good lip products. Going in with that liner in the shade Nude. Okay, I really like this shade of liner. And it's nude, why wouldn't you? Just diffusing that with my finger. Okay, and for lipstick wise, I have grabbed the Revlon Super Lustrous lipstick in the shade Bare It All. Beautiful nude. Creamy. It's a really nice everyday lipstick. Another product that they do, if you haven't tried it, is the Jelly Tint Lip Colours. Now this is a dupe for the Selena Gomez, I think it is, the Rare Beauty lip tints. And you just need to leave it for a few seconds, and you can leave it like that and leave it super juicy on your lip, but when you wipe it off it will actually stain. It's really good. It's a near exact dupe, so if you want to save yourself some bucks, that one is really good. Okay, now we've just got mascara. L'Oreal lead the way in mascaras as far as I'm concerned from the pharmacy. People either really love L'Oreal, or they really love Rimmel, or they really love CoverGirl. No one really loves Revlon. So this is it's a fibre brush, which is I usually like, but I can already tell I'm not sure on the formula, and I don't like a lot of lipsticks. I don't like a lot of mascaras straight out of the barrel most times anyway. But I opened this last week. Look, I've already made a mess on my eyelids with this. I feel like it's given me more on my eyelids than on my actual lashes. Okay, so that's one coat, and it's made them darker. It's not given me any volume. It's not given me any length. I'll go in with another. What it has done is slap me on my eyelid. It made a bit of a mess, but we just leave that there whenever it happens and let it dry. Okay, let's zoom right in here and look at the mess that this has made. Look at, I've done 3 coats. Here, look at this. I mean, it's just a car crash, isn't it, around here? Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Again, step over, left or right, pick up L'Oreal. Pick up pick up L'Oreal Telescopic or Lash Paradise or the new Panorama, which is amazing. Don't touch this big bad lash, because it's not big, but it is bad. I'm going to go out of the house after. I'm just waiting for this to dry down so I can spoolie it off and possibly put something over the top of it. So while this is drying down, we have some thoughts. Obviously, do not get the big bad mascara, because this. But base products wise, the blush is really pretty, and that shade in fact is really, really pretty. That would look gorgeous on darker skin as well. Foundation, love. Highlighter, of course. Lip products, of course. Bronzer, this bronzer has been living on my desk for the last few weeks, and use it. Not sold on the concealer. It was a bit too thick and cakey for my particular liking. I think there are better products out there. Powder was okay, nothing to write home about. Again, better products. You can sort of see why Revlon's been in a bit of trouble recently as far as concerns around their future. Love their lip products. That's the only foundation product I've tried that I've liked in a long, long time. But, yeah, the bronzer, the blush, the highlighter, absolute bangers. Now let's see. I've got a clean spoolie here. It should have been long enough now to dry down. If it has not dried down now, then again, I won't be surprised I'm going to make a mess of it, but any other product would have dried down by now. So if you ever have this problem, just a gentle flick, and it should just scratch off. This is leaving a little bit of a mess behind. I will be able to fix that, but most would just come straight off. You can see all of it up here. Let's just give it a bit of a scratch. And see, it's making a mess. It hasn't dried down properly. Any other product I have been able to scratch off. So, you can imagine my thoughts on this right now. Let's see if we can fix this. Tap, tap, tap. Cover that part. Go back in with the pencil. I haven't put anything else. Pencil brush, I haven't put anything else on it. Just blending. Again, not putting anything else on it, just picking it up. Just going back over the top there. And again, just going, adjusting a little bit there, just to get rid of that. So we have saved it, but we shouldn't have had to. What are your thoughts? What's your favourite Revlon product? Let me know in the comments below if you've tried this or any of the ones that I really like. I'd love to know if anyone's tried this mascara and made it work for them, because can't pay me to use it again. Literally. Don't try and buy me Revlon, because that I will never say anything good about it. Can't picture saying anything good about it. So that is it. That is a full face of Revlon. Few hits, few misses. Who would you like to see a full face of next? I've got a few on the go that I'm putting together, but if there is any brand you'd like to see a full face of, I'm also looking at doing a full face of the cheapest makeup that I have in. Also, my favourite savvy products, a full face of my favourite cheap products. Again, I also cover luxury as well. So let me know what you'd like to know. Sound off in the comments below. Until next time, I have been your cruise director. Thank you for joining us on the Magical Mystery Tour. Tell your mum, tell your sisters, tell your friends. Come along and join the community. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.